So you be Muriel and I'll be John. What do you say?
I think that's a good idea.
That's a good assignment. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
All right. We're going to be each other today.
That's right. Well, we already dressed this way. So,
Yes. Well, happy Monday to you all. And I think that's us. We can just catch up here. So for those of you who don't know John Knowles here, I think there are very few who don't know John at this point.
I'd like to think that's true.
Yeah,
so,
you've done a lot with the Fingerstyle Quarterly and all your transcriptions of the Chet Atkins tunes and playing with Tommy Emmanuel.
Yeah,
Tours,
I've had more great assignments, and to me, a good assignment is one that interests me, and I realize sometimes it's what I wish I'd had growing up, because I'm always thinking about the stuff I didn't have, like the vinyl record and the wearing it out with the needle moving and all that, and also you end up with having lessons with your heroes in order to proofread and do some things like that. So it's been a lot of fun to do that way, and of course along the way you get ideas from everybody, so you learn things, you try things. You and I were talking earlier about how Chet was always so adventurous. If something came up, he would try and work it.
Yeah.
I remember he called me on the phone one day and said that he'd wanted to write this tune for Christmas album called East Tennessee Christmas.
Yeah.
And we got to the chorus and we didn't know what to do. And I said, well, we could kind of do the unwhite Christmas thing. We could say, it might snow. And know what he said? Don't you know? Like he always said all the time. And there it was, a pair of rhyming lines,
Yeah.
But just that one little thing, just always so quick to toss something out like that.
Yeah.
So amazing. And he introduced us.
Yes, that's
He
right.
said, you're going to be up Chicago way, you should go see Muriel. And we drove up to that conference in
Milwaukee.
In Milwaukee, yeah.
Everyone thought we were related or
That's right,
longtime
boyfriends and girlfriends.
friends or something.
Yeah. My little sister, we got all these things. You couldn't imagine that we're like just both guitar players. What a notion, yeah.
Yeah, but it's still like that when I get together with you. It's
It
you're
is
my-
family.
Yes, it is family. You're my first friend here in Nashville. First time I came to Nashville was to visit you and Becky.
That's right.
Yep,
That's right, yeah.
and then hang out with Chet in the meantime. Yes,
That's right,
right.
yeah.
As we
Well,
all
and
did.
and I remember early on too, we were all going to the Chet Atkins convention, and afterwards, all the diehards that couldn't quit, would keep playing. And one of the times it happened over at the swimming pool afterwards, which is kind of the pre-birth of the All-Star Guitar Night.
That's
remember?
right. You were there at the very first party that led to the All-Star Guitar Night.
Yeah.
And the very first one that we did in public.
And with microphones, that's right, at
Yeah.
the Bluebird, yeah.
Bluebell Cafe. It went on to the Ryman Auditorium and all sorts of.
No, that's really had legs over the years, hasn't it? That's the other thing. That's very Nashville-like and very Chet-like, to just take something that seems cool and start working it, whether it's a lick or an idea, and Nashville does that a lot. That's one of the things you got by hanging out here as much as you did.
Oh, yes, and you too. You were the first one to learn Happy Again, right?
Yeah, I was going to go back to Marcel Dadi's festival in France, and Chet had gone the year before, but he wasn't going to go this year. He got too long a flight, So he said, I said, why don't you show me a tune that I can show them? And he said, I got one I wrote last night. So the ink wasn't dry. Matter of fact, to the extent that he didn't really remember how it went, he called Leona and said, honey, would you play the cassette on the kitchen table? Oh, okay, I got it, thanks. And he hung up, and then he showed me Happy Again, and he got about 2/3 of the way through it and said, and so forth.
Yeah. Well, we may do the same thing because I haven't played it for
That's
a while
right.
either. So
One of the things I did, and when I heard that title, Happy Again, I thought,
Yeah.
but what happens before, And he had a story. It was a health crisis, He was happy again because he got the doctor report. So I
That's right.
took the bridge and kind of reworked it as if it were an intro. So I'll start with the bridge, and when you feel so inclined,
okay,
you can jump in,
I'll
right? So,
leap in there.
Another thing about that tune, I asked him later, I said, does Happy Again have words? Because it always sounds like, I'm happy again, when it kicks off. And he said, it could. In his own cryptic way. He was always big on knowing the words to things. I remember going in one time and I was working on, I think it was Send in the Clowns, and I had it kind of sketched out. I'm going to show him work in progress. And he said, that's coming along. He said, do you know the words? And I said, well, not all of them. He said, I didn't think so. And what he told me was, he said, you want to learn the words because the audience knows the words more than they know anything. Yeah. And so if they hear you playing as if you don't know the words, it throws them,
Yeah, it's not phrased the same way.
It doesn't phrase the same way as if you don't know the words, Those little lessonettes that you always got from our hero,
Yes.
So.
Well, I got a little lessonette on the Happy Again from Tom Bresch. I do that little, that little arpeggiated thing. So I stole that from Bresch.
Yeah.
I like the way he plays that.
And Bresch videotaped it when I went to France and played it there, and he learned it. And then I guess a couple of years passed, and he was doing a recording session they were doing a Merle Travis tribute, I think, and Bresch played Happy Again, kind of unannounced. And you remember what happened?
Yeah, Chet said, where'd you learn that? And Bresch said, I wrote that.
Right?
And Chet, the heck you did.
But then he had Bresch make him a cassette of Bresch playing it because he liked some of the things that Bresch was doing with it. Because you know how Bresch is. He didn't learn anything exactly. Matter of fact, a lot of us, I would learn things exactly if I was writing a book, but if I was learning off the record, I would kind of get the drift. And the same thing is true if I did an arrangement for Chet. I showed him how I was doing it. He listened to what I was doing, and then he sounded like Chet Atkins when he did it. He didn't sound like...
Well, we are here together today because of Tom Bresch. We went together to visit Tom, who's recovering from cancer, and
we went to had Mexican food together.
Mexican food, yes. So,
and margaritas, as I recall.
Yes, there were a few margaritas that happened.
Yeah, it was good to see him.
It was good to see him. Good to see him smile. Yeah.
This is one of the things I think we're all experiencing right now. This chunk of time being alone, as I put it, playing for the furniture instead of for people.
Yes.
Every time I get together with any other musicians, it just feels like a festival. And so I think everybody out there that's attended something in the last couple of months, because things are starting to happen again a little bit. It's amazing. The big experience is just being with each other. Because we are the musical family that loves this music, and so when you're like that, it turns out that all that stuff you didn't think you can play it because your family is egging you on. They're glad to hear you do it. So.
Well, it's a wonderful community, and I'm always so thankful to be in this community of acoustic music.
Oh yeah.
Because by and large, the people on all sides of the business are great people. The other musicians are great. Even the club owners are great.
I know it.
And the audiences are great. And so, what other business or even form of music can say that?
Well, and when you meet somebody new, you realize how many friends you have in common already.
Yeah.
And that immediately sets the basis for a new friendship, I remember, speaking of meeting people, I guess I'd been in town, I don't know, a few weeks, and Chet calls me up and he says, get down here to the office. Excuse me. Lenny Breau is in town. He said, I didn't know if he was still alive or not. So I went down to Chet's office, and Lenny was there. And I met him, and so for several years, I would drive him places, and we didn't ever play duo gigs, but we took turns playing gigs. I think my favorite Lenny gig was I played a wedding, and he said, oh man, I've never been to a wedding. He said, can you smuggle me in? So I snuck him in and had him sit behind the floral arrangement. And afterwards he said, man, there was so much love in that room, which is true, weddings and births are that way, everybody is bonding around the possibilities that love presents.
Well, I think a lot of people know that Lenny was a really unique spirit. In fact, tonight on our acoustic sailing channel, we're going to, if it's not live already, if you go to YouTube and acoustic sailing, There's a little clip of a tribute concert we did when we were up in Maine
Oh,
for Lenny
man.
Breau with his brother.
His brother?
Denny
Denny?
Breau
Oh,
was
wow.
there. So I'm looking forward to see. After this, I'm going to tune on.
That's
to that.
right. Yeah, we got something to do. Don't
Yeah,
we?
check that out. You wrote a beautiful tune for Lenny Breau. Do you still remember that?
Oh yeah, he'd been gone about a year, and I was. Matter of fact, that's the first time I lost a friend, and kept talking about him in the present tense. I couldn't quite put him in the past tense, you know.
Yeah.
And so I wrote this tune. Lately, I've been feeling lonely. So it's lately, you know. And I used his quarter note triplet thing
Yeah.
over the four,
Yeah.
and then just enough words to kind of give the melody a place to hang. So lately, I've been feeling lonely.
Yes. While you're doing that, I'm going to go and check,
Check
some of the
messages.
hellos.
That's
and
right,
so
yes.
if you want to text in where you're
I'll give you a little
coming
traveling
from.
music.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful.
I snuck in one thing that I'll show you too. Down at the end, like this minor chord, and then he would play the harmonics there a lot of times. But instead, I stuck his name in. But, Lenny Breau, Lenny Breau. So it's that whole thing of using again the rhythm of language, which is a big thing with Chet. That's why he wanted everybody to know the words, is because the lyrics very often had the phrasing and so forth in the music.
Yeah, gorgeous. Well, I hope it
Oh, we have some questions.
Yes.
Was there a prize for getting the correct answer?
And also, I just noticed, I think that Facebook is going live again. There was a little notice on there that I was checking
Oh.
out, so maybe they have.
Maybe we have an audience.
Yes, maybe they corrected themselves. So if you're just tuning in, that's why. And otherwise, the YouTube's.
Yeah.
Everyone else is on YouTube, so we appreciate you joining us here. We've got Mark and Joyce, Tom, of course, Carol and John, and yeah, Denny and Roth. So I want to say
Here we go.
there
We're
we
back.
go. I think that may be
Facebook joining us.
Facebook joining us right now. Yes. So wonderful. Oh, you know.
You got something up your sleeve?
Yes, today, just before you came, I went walking around Radnor Lake with
Oh, yeah.
Victor Wooten and Andrew, who's from the nature camp. Yes, and so we walked past that area where there were two owls singing a long time ago. It was on September 11th.
Love it, yeah.
Yes, the original September 11th. And I heard those two owls singing, and that melody just struck me. One was slightly lower than the other. And then I went back and played it on the guitar, and that was how Owl Song started.
Yes, yes.
And you transcribed that for the Fingerstyle Quarterly.
It's in one of the issues of the Fingerstyle.
Yeah.
I learned to play it with the six-string tuned down, and now what you're going to do is play it on harp guitar, I'll bet. And so I'm going to put a capo on the second fret and see if I can noodle along. I'll be the underbrush, you'll be the owls.
Okay.
funny. I hadn't played this in a long time, but I was amazed how much I remembered what it sounds like. And as soon as I remember what it sounds like, my fingers can often find a little something that fits. I don't know how that works. Magic, huh?
Yeah, so I believe it is. I believe it's because you know your guitar.
Yes.
Okay, so it starts with the owls that we're singing like this.
Yeah. You know, that's, well, geez, to be within 100 yards, you know, where that song
Where
comes
they
from,
had,
yeah.
yeah.
You know, no, I remember you telling the story and playing the piece, and about that same time, you and I had both started working with the Nashville Chamber Orchestra.
Yes.
And they put together a series of guitar concerts. I think Pete Hutlinger played one of them. And then I was going into the schools, and so they sent me in with the string quartet, which is a forerunner of what we all do now with the Endless Road Strings.
Yes.
So I remember writing out string arrangements for the quartet to play. So that's me learning how to do that, you know.
Yeah.
I think I did the Chihuahua Waltz and something else, you know. And then also they played regular string quartet stuff, and I played some guitar solos. But there was a chunk of time there when all of a sudden we were being encouraged to like orchestrate.
Yeah.
In addition to being soloists, you know. So.
And that one was so beautiful with the strings behind it.
Man,
Oh,
Scrumps Us, yeah. That's one of my favorite charts of yours.
oh, thank you. Yeah, that worked beautifully. And the owls that wrote the melody, I mean, I only wrote 5 notes of the melody.
Yes.
The rest of it was what they were singing. And I felt like I needed to give them some royalties for it. And so I got the Barred Owl level sponsorship at Radnor Lake, where they live. And
Keep your creative team in the loop that way.
That's
In
right,
case they have any
so-
more ideas. That's great.
because they were barred owls. If you know your owls, you'll recognize the
That's
the
right.
call.
That song, yeah. Is that the one who says, "Who cooks for you? Who cooks for you?" or something like that? There's a little owl around here that does that. the Tennessee phrase that goes with it.
Well, because it's that. Who cooks for you?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know where that comes from. Before our time. You know?
Yeah, but that day they were singing it slightly different. They were saying, "Who cooks? Who cooks for you?" There was an extra little eighth note in it.
That's
on
right.
That day, so they sing it a little bit differently.
Because it
on
would hang
different
just
days.
right. You know.
Yes.
Well, I think the other thing I always loved about it was the kind of Baroque.
Yeah, just a descending bass. That's all it is. Yeah.
You know, and so it's a setting of that idea. You know, this other thing Muriel and I were talking about as we drove back and forth to Mexican food with Breau is how many times we'll hear something then hearing something, but also a certain emotional setting or just a context of some sort. In this case, the owls and the significance of September the 11th is enough to set a creative process in motion. And so I've noticed Nashville songwriters do this. If they heard those Owls song, they would have jotted down something about owls in the park. They wouldn't have known what to do with it the same way
With
you
the
did.
melody, yeah.
But that would have been a significant thing. I've been around things and I've said something, and I see a songwriter reach out and grab their pad and write something down. Like, oh, I'm a co-writer, but I imagine I won't get a check.
Well, you come up with some interesting turns of phrase so often that it's just a delight to be around you and
You know,
gather those.
recently I was thinking about the time I had gone to Spain to study at that class over in Santiago de Compostela. And one of the things I didn't get to do was go to Barcelona. I just didn't know what you were supposed to go see, all those great museums and architecture and everything. So I've always thought, had a kind of a Barcelona thing going. And I said that word the other day, and I noticed that the O is where the emphasis is. It's the same as desperado, Barcelona. It's that, so it's like 2 eighth notes heading into a downbeat, so Barcelona. And then Lenny had showed me an idea where you would take a chord progression, and I took, and then you would put a scale on top, and I put a chromatic scale. And when you do that together, so it's Barcelona, if only I can be with you tonight. And more, there's more to come, But it's the idea that the rhythm of some words, and then there's this musical idea that Lenny did. It was, I'll show you, but you can try this at home. Sometimes they don't say don't try this at home.
Oh, yeah.
If you play like the Mel Bay Blue Moon chords, C, A minor, D minor 7, G7, and instead of putting the notes on top that always come in the book, what Lenny would do is he would play the notes in the scale. So the C chord would get the first note of the scale, the A minor 7 would get a D on top, then the D minor would get an E on top, and then he would put an F on top and put a little different chord than just Cowboy G7,
Right.
So now if you do, and he's still blue moon, you saw me standing alone. And that's where a lot of those chords, he had little things like that. So that chord progression and scale on top, and then rework the chords so that you can do it. I'll show you one other one real quick. When Tommy and I were doing How Deep Is Your Love, I did Blue Moon in E, kind of the old doo-wop version.
Yeah.
And then I played down the scale. So that's, it's still blue moon, you saw me standing.
Oh, it's a cool.
But it's a whole different set of,
progression, yeah.
So it's taking the cowboy stuff and finding a way to explore it in a different way. Now, that doesn't tell you what to do with it, but all of a sudden you've got a little palette you can play with, so get your brushes out and get to work.
Yeah. Well, I hope you'll stay with me. I'm teaching a class after this. Oh, we both do that True Fire thing, by the way.
The
we should
channels,
let
yeah.
them know. So in addition to the class I'm doing, we do private lessons, and you can check out a million videos that are specifically made for the students.
So that's right. As a matter of fact, if you'll send me an email, John Knowles, or go to my website, you can sign up for the Fingerstyle Buffet. You get a free trial,
Oh, cool.
7 days, and you'll be coming back for more, like a real buffet.
Okay.
But Muriel and I were saying the other day that it's it's one of the most fun ways I've found recently. For a long time, the Fingerstyle Quarterly was it, but that was like text and audio, and all of a sudden there's video and being able to see it and short ideas, and I'm really enjoying sharing, I think, in that context now. So.
Right. Well, you're such a great teacher. I mean, obviously, as we can see right now.
Can't help it.
Okay, yeah, and I'm going to be trying that now on a bunch of things.
Everybody
on some of my
does.
new sailing songs, I may.
That's right. Well, you said the other day you were looking, you had a sailing song, and you heard a voice, but it wasn't your voice.
Yeah.
And so already there's the texture and some of the ingredients
Yeah.
are there, but the whole thing is not sketched out yet. And you said something else too, which is sometimes you have to be patient and let the music speak to you. Let the music you're creating tell you what happens next. Don't let your fingers do the talking, So important work. So.
Yeah. And it happens all different ways. It never gets easier. That one happened all at one sitting, where other ones it's taken years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I know what you mean. You have to be patient. I've heard people who write novels say the same thing.
Yeah.
They create these characters and they put them in a situation, and if you talk to them midway, they'll say, well, I don't know what these people are going to do. I know who they are, but I don't know how they're going to react to the circumstances. And I thought, that's exactly it. You want to create a world and then listen to it unfold and then put your fingers where the story is, So.
Right. Well, let's do one more tune.
Yeah.
And then I'll,
What are you going to do?
Well, I have no idea. I mean, we could, I could do It Never Gets Easier. You could, or Imagine is the tune that we're going to be teaching.
Oh, are you tuning down to 6 for that?
I'm in D, or I could do it on this if you wanted to capo. On the
Let's
harp
tune
guitar.
down. I can think that way.
Okay, right. Just a normal.
So we just kind of went through one of the steps I always go through when I'm trying to come up with a good arrangement. So we pick the key and we tune the string to set to get the setting right.
Get the feel, yeah.
And then I'm thinking da 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 da, and I kind of know where the melody is in relation to the scale, and I know there's enough scale notes and there's some good bass notes, and so I've got a place to stand to work from here. I haven't done this in this key. We'll see what happens next.
Yeah, and I don't know where it'll go from
That's
here.
right,
So this is Monday Live. This is not a performance. So this is just us having fun. So let me check my tuning with the expert here.
Yes.
Yes. Let's see. The expert says.
It's Bradford Lake tuning, isn't it? potential in that, isn't it? That's a good key for it too. It's a good there's a place for all the bass lines and all the chords, and you can hit all the melody notes. And there's even room to play harmony in six like that, you know. And so, yeah, that's a good place. So you've got some your channel students working on this.
Well, it's the new format through String Masters. So I'm doing the String Masters for these little mini classes, and then the TrueFire for private and video classes.
I got you.
Yeah.
I got you. So many ways to communicate in absentia.
Do you do Bluebell?
Gee, I did years ago. I never really played it. Well, what the heck? I know how it goes because I've listened to Merle Travis forever, right?
Or I just don't want to have this end quite so soon.
I know, it's so serious, yeah.
I just haven't had a chance to hang with you so much and play some guitars together.
Well, I tell you, the other thing is we end with a kind of a little upbeat tune, and we end kind of doing what you and I always do, which is just play back and forth, and we kind of we trust each other, we have fun together. This is something I would encourage everybody who's leaving us a note. Find a picking partner and just sit down and play.
Yeah.
And don't worry about what is going to be right or what's just the correct. Just like a conversation. You don't worry. Oh my goodness, what word should I use now? You just chat.
Yeah, that's right.
Here we are, the chat version of Bluebell, right?
Yes, and I should say some more hellos also.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, we've got Carol coming on here, and Mark Weiss. Oh, great to see Mark. And
I see Clark Ellis. I haven't seen Clark in a long time.
Oh, yeah, Clark. Wow.
Yeah.
There's a friend from the Chet Atkins convention.
That's right,
Cool. Let's see. And this is one that is a Travis tune. Tom Bresh's dad.
Yeah.
This,
I think it's a traditional tune going way back, and his version of it is the one we all know and love, you know, because it's so thumbicky.
Yeah.
Feeling kind of Kentucky tonight, aren't we?
Oh, yeah. Well.
Man, this was a good idea, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, we may just continue to hang just a little bit.
Yeah, thanks for all you guys who chimed in and inspired us.
Yeah, and those of you who played right along with us there.
That's right. There's somebody out there.
Few.
We didn't hear you, but we know.
Okay. Well, we'll see you next Monday. Oh, I'm giving a free concert actually this time, a live stream concert on the 9th. And so all that information is on that link that you have there at murielanderson.com/now. And I'll also link your TrueFire channel to that.
There we go.
Okay,
cool.
so you can go and check out either the TrueFire
Well,
channels.
and tomorrow night I'm doing one with Billy Halting. It's a kind of a jazz roundtable.
Oh, neat.
And I'll put something up on Facebook about that. Okay. And I don't know what's going to happen. I think he's going to make me play while he asks the questions, you know.
Okay.
And then up in, I think it's Oakton College up in Chicago area, it's got a thing going on where once a week they're bringing different players in to do a live thing. I think it's when it's 3 o'clock Saturday.
Yeah.
So I'll say something on Facebook, assuming Facebook is back in operation, you know.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. See ya.